Back with our public investment plan with the Davidson County Juvenile Court. Judge, we appreciate you being here. You're going to talk today about the bridge, I think is what you're calling it, and we're looking forward to hearing about that. You'll have 7 minutes, and then we'll have 7 minutes for questions. I do want you to know that I already appreciate in advance all the hard work that you've all done to put this together. We have finite resources, so if you don't get funded this year, it doesn't mean it's not a great idea. It just may mean it needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, or it will be funded at a later time. So, Judge, over to you. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. And, I always have to thank you all for this opportunity, and Mayor Berry for your vision for allowing us to do that. And I'm so happy that Judge Bell got to speak before us, and she started talking about the prison or the school to prison pipeline, which is so near and dear to our heart. And as I start talking to you about the bridge, I want to ask you a question about these pictures that you see. And other than being 3 young black men, what do they have in common? I'll tell you that each and one of them probably had a lot of positive potential. Their first time they were ever in trouble, it was for a status offense of running away from home. And for each 3 of these, they went to detention for the first time as a status offender. Each of them eventually ended up in the adult criminal system on a transfer case from the juvenile court. And I'm going to talk to you a little about an article from the Justice Policy Institute called The Dangers of Detention and the impact of incarcerating youth in detention and other secure facilities. From this article, what you will find out that there are 2 things that happen when we unnecessarily detain children in a detention facility. It increases their chance of further delinquency, and it also increases recidivism. So we're not doing it right. And unfortunately, our current processes, we only have that option. If a police picks up a child for running away from home, for violating curfew, for any low-level delinquent offense that is not detainable, they have absolutely no choice but to bring them to the detention facility because we have no other options now. Each day, I get a daily list of who comes to our detention. And as you can see on this list, this is a list of all of those who are non-detainable. They're in detention for running away, for simple assault, for driving without a license, things that are not detainable, but things that we don't have anywhere else to take them. And on a daily basis, we usually average about 10 of these children that come through our detention facility for stuff like that. Over a year, it's about 3,300 that we are averaging seeing in this type of situation. And when we have families that are in crisis, we have children that run away, are unruly because it's a family issue, it's a crisis thing. It's things that they cannot deal with on their own. We have a lack of short-term respite services. So all we have now, and I'm so happy that we do have our partners with Oasis, but they only have 12 respite beds that they have available. And a lot of times those beds are full. And so if we can't use Oasis, we have to do the Department of Children's Services custody. And that's really not the best answer for a child that just needs a little time out from their parents. Furthermore, we have a big homeless youth problem in our community. Not only in society, in the United States, we have a large growing amount, but right here in Davidson County, in the years of 2014 and 2015, we had 729 youth ages between 18 to 24 that were homeless. Now, I do want to change the topic or the tone for just a second and tell you about the positive things that we have done at the Metro Student Attendance Center since I have been the juvenile court judge. One of the things that we've done is we know because there's a connection between a child not attending school or skipping school truancy and further delinquency and becoming part of the prison pipeline, we know we have to address it better. And so what I did was restructure the entire process that we use at Metro Student Attendance Center. Now we have a magistrate that's in charge of it, and we have several dockets. We do a loitering during school hour docket every single day where the police bring them to the center so that they can be held accountable right then and there. But because we've done these changes, we now have limited space, limited dockets, limited parking, and we truly have outgrown our space that we have. So it's a positive thing that we're doing more for our truancy cases, but we need more space. And I think one of the things that I know is near and dear to our mayor's heart is youth unemployment rate, because we know that there's a direct link between lack of job opportunities and increase in youth violence. We have to be more proactive on what we're doing. Currently, if you can see the rate of Davidson County unemployment rate in the United States, they're all under 10%. For youth in Davidson County, we are about 30, between 16 and 19 years of age, we are about 30% of unemployment rate. So we have to make a change, and that change, that answer is the bridge. So for about $1.5 million, what you're going to get from the bridge is a 24/7 assessment center that will take care of those over 3,300 youth that don't need to be in our detention facility. You'll have a respite center for an additional 12 youth. You'll have a temporary crisis for homeless 18 to 24-year-olds, a new location for the Metro Student Attendance Center, and a youth employment resource center. This will cover the cost for staff, security, food services, operational expenses, setup, and equipment. We can do all of this with that amount of money. And we have to do all of this, and we have to do it now. Youth crime is on the rise. The need for a place for youth to turn to in crisis is at an all-time high. We've got to do something about our youth homelessness. Education services are needed to be supported, and our youth has spoken. They want to work. They want these positive opportunities, and we have to do it. We have a number of our partners in decreasing crime, not partners in crime, but decreasing crime, and we want to reach out to all of them and use them. We can do this. Together, we can bridge the gaps. And I want to close with just a quote that was in the article that I would love to give to you all, and I do have copies for the panel if you are interested. What that quote says is a quote from San Jose Police Chief Bill Lansdowne. "Locking up kids is the easiest way. But once they get into the juvenile system, it's very hard to get them out." Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. You've apparently brought a fan club. Appreciate that.
She traveled with it.
She does. I think so too.
I like to travel in numbers.
Panelists. Rich.
My first question, just to make sure I understand this right. So you're proposing a new facility the juvenile court would operate for the purposes outlined. Is that something that needs to be done by the juvenile court, or could a third-party vendor, a nonprofit such as Oasis, someone like that, operate it as efficiently or better? That's a legitimate question.
I think it needs to be done by the juvenile court because the main piece of it is those cases that are coming to juvenile court for the unruly, the status offenders, and the non-delinquent. And so juvenile court would need to be the one that's actually controlling it. Also, I have a better control on the training that we would have to do. Our staff now currently is going through a lot of training on trauma-informed care, CPI training, things that they're learning how to better work with children. Oasis has done a bunch of our training as well, so they have that training background as well. But I think if juvenile court is in charge of it, then we'd have a better opportunity on how to handle the cases.
Because you use a private company now to manage the detention facility. Okay,
We do.
That's the reason why but you think this facility needs to be...
I do think this facility needs to be, and we can partner out with, that's why I always says is here with us, because we love partnering with them, but partner parts of it, and they run an awesome respite center, and we would like to mirror what they do, and if they were the ones that help to control that respite center part of it.
And so, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
The $1.5 million is really operational,
Yes.
but we don't have a facility, right? So we'd have to.
Correct.
So on top of that, there has to be a facility of some kind, either an existing facility, some which you don't have those costs or estimates on that.
I don't, and we
Okay.
reached out to General Services, and they basically said that they'd have to do a cost
Yeah,
analysis, see
in order.
what the space would look like.
But you would include the student attendance center, so that would leave the current location and go to this location?
That would be
as part of
correct.
this proposal? Okay.
That would be correct.
All right.
Talia.
I have a question because we are investing quite a bit now in a family justice center.
Yes.
Where we are looking at lots of different operations and co-locating operations from the police department, DV. We've got some nonprofits coming in. Is there an opportunity there to look at that space and how your work could be co-located there?
I think there definitely could be an opportunity for us to look at that space, and I'm not sure the size of it. We would definitely, I'm sorry.
Work in progress.
Okay. So, and I think that could be definitely part of the conversation. We may have to consider on that lot, maybe having a separate standalone part of the juvenile court, or the bridge part would need to be a standalone, so that we wouldn't have any issues of juveniles and juvenile offenders mixing with any of the adult services that are going on, and to make sure that we're keeping everything separate. But I think that it's definitely a possibility that we could do that.
Okay.
The respite beds in the discussion, is that also a separate budget item than this? 'Cause
No,
I didn't see it on-
that would be included in this item budget as well. So that the total $1.5 million would include the social workers and everything, the respite care workers that we would need within that price.
Okay, my form here shows FTEs, but no cost for a respite program. Or is it buried in the FTEs?
It is buried in the FTEs.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear, I understood.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It is buried in the FTEs, and I think the FTEs include, there are actually 26 staff positions that would include the assessment specialists that we would need for the assessment part of it. It would include the office support representatives to make sure that we're doing everything right. It would include about 10 group care workers, and those are the ones that would work in the respite center. That cost would also include kind of like a judicial commissioner for juvenile court. So we don't have a nighttime commissioner, and so when these cases come at nighttime, they stay in detention until their case can be reviewed in the morning by either me or one of the magistrates currently. And so we would like to have a nighttime commissioner or judicial officer that can review cases immediately to determine whether or not they are detainable or whether or not they can be released. So that's included in that cost as well.
The 3,300 youth, are they spread then over these 26 FTEs? Is that how that would work?
Correct. So the 33 that would be coming in primarily would initially be working with the assessment specialist. And it's very workable because you're only going to have about 10, no more than 20 a day. And so they could do an immediate mini assessment to see exactly what the immediate needs are. And if there is a need that the child can't go home right then and there for whatever reason, then they would transfer to the respite part of the building.
Thank you.
Anything else? We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming and making time to do this.
And I do have the articles if you all are interested.
I would like the article.
Okay.
Please make sure I get it.
All right. Thank you
Thank you,
all.
Judge. Thank you all.